What do you do when you're desperate to move but you just can't sell your house? It's been on the market for months but all the viewings have dried up. Well, what you do is you stop selling and start swapping. House swapping is the latest trend to hit the property world. With around 10,000 properties registered with swap websites, it's a brilliant way to avoid the dreaded property chain and make that move onwards. We'll be meeting people who want to swap their home permanently.
Whoever designed it's done a brilliant job.
Yes.
Really have.
And we'll show them 3 properties to find their perfect match.
Hello.
Welcome to our house.
Come in and have a look.
We hope you've enjoyed our tour.
And if you'd like to do a swap, just let us know.
After a day spent road testing each other's properties and lifestyles, we'll bring them to the negotiating table where our straight-talking negotiator, Sunita, will help them thrash out a deal.
Do you think there is anywhere for us to go with this?
I think £10,000 is the gesture.
Yeah.
Before we find out if they'll swap homes for good. Hello and welcome. Today I'm in the cathedral city of Canterbury in Kent and I have an interesting fact for you. When the pilgrims are riding here on horseback, they would speed up the pace from a trot to a Canterbury trot, which is ever so less tiring on the horse than a gallop. And that became abbreviated and known as the canter. There you go. I have another interesting fact for you. There's a couple in Canterbury that want to do a house swap. And here they are. Retired teachers turned property developers Ronnie and Kathryn have just finished work on 5 new eco-homes not far from the Kent coast in Canterbury. And with the market not what it was, they're looking to swap one for a holiday cottage that they can use but also rent out. So that's Ronnie and Kathryn. Now, time to introduce the real star of the show. Newly constructed, here she is, the eco-home. And apparently it's so fabulous it should make us all green with envy. Come on. Well, take a look at all of this space. Got a lovely entrance hall here, and then we stroll into the dining lounge area that's in full show home mode. But what's interesting, I don't feel I've walked into some kind of geeky and worthy eco project. I feel like I'm in a very well-built, sensible family home. Well, will you take a look at this? What is it? Is it the bridge of the Starship Enterprise, or is it in fact a news desk? Good morning, here are the news headlines. I'm currently standing in the kitchen. Yes, believe it or not, this is the kitchen. Even though it has these wonderful, sleek and sexy curves, this is the kitchen with its sparkling, dazzling work surface that looks like a million stars in the galaxy. And I would imagine that one could be beamed up if this extractor fan was on warp factor 9. It's domestic life, Jim, but not as we know it. This Hoover is rather special because it actually attaches into the walls around the house. You can take it anywhere you want, and all the dust disappears through the walls into another dimension. And there's other things in this house that are quite space-age that I'd like to show you, like in the ensuite here, we have a shower that is truly out of this world. I'm sure Doctor Who would like to bathe in there. We also have some very artful sinks and taps that look like flying saucers. The rest of the house is terribly well finished, with 5 bedrooms set over 3 floors, all accessed by this stunning central staircase. Well, there you have it in all its grandeur. One very green home. If only the same could be said for the garden. It's very early days for this. But if you're prepared to walk 60 seconds that way, this house comes with something that's very green indeed. This has to be the special feature of the property, as it comes with an acre of its very own woodland filled with the likes of oaks, sycamore and sorbus, and a sprinkling of bluebells as well. Ronnie and Kathryn's 5-bed eco-house comes with an acre of woodland and has been valued at £625,000. And I think it's time we caught up with them. Well, thank goodness I found you in this woodland. It was quite a trick. Now you've obviously made such an effort building this wonderful home. Why do you want to swap it?
Yes. Have you ever heard of the credit crunch?
I am aware of it. It's not great.
Not many people know about it.
Oh, well, yes, I've heard rumours about it.
Yes.
So I take it that's affecting things?
Yes, it is. I mean, although we will sell some, we're aware of the fact that, you know, A, we're not going to probably sell them all, and B, it's not necessarily a good idea to sell them all, because at the bottom of the market, you do think, well, things will get better.
Yeah.
So what we're thinking is, rather than sort of just renting it out, why not swap it and have a holiday home that we can rent out in another nice area of the country?
This is a brilliant plan. OK, so whereabouts? Are there any favoured parts of the country?
We'd be open to any idea, really. We'd be happy having a house in London or any city or in the countryside. We don't mind.
So basically, you're saying, Kristian, throw me anything and we'll have a look at it. We'll consider it.
Sounds dangerous, doesn't it?
It does sound very, very risky. Who's going to end up with egg on their face? But I guess all of those decisions are dictated by the value of the swap. So what is the value of the property you've built and how much would you want to swap for?
It was with an estate agent for $675,000 and it was valued in January at $625,000.
Yeah. So how much would you like to swap for? What kind of value?
Between sort of 6 and sort of 650, I guess.
OK, I think what we need to do is meander our way back through the wood, past the bluebells and the sycamore tree and into the property, and we'll look at some houses.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
OK, Ronnie and Kathryn, we're about to see 3 properties in our property smorgasbord. All the owners of the homes are interested in the idea of swapping. So let's see which homes you like and which ones you don't. First up, we're going to meet Paul and Liz, and they're in Walton, West Yorkshire. Do you know the area?
No.
Not personally, no.
You're about to find out a lot about it. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Liz Halliday.
Hi, I'm Paul Halliday.
Welcome to our home in Wakefield, West Yorkshire.
Come inside and have a look.
Nice big entrance hall, light and spacious.
And through here's the sitting room, which is large enough for 2 settees, so we can have one each and lie down.
Through into the conservatory.
Unfortunately, the sun's not shining today, but normally the light's flooding in here and you get fantastic sunsets over the farmhouses. It's a great place for Sunday morning, reading the papers and having a coffee.
This is the kitchen. We both enjoy cooking in here, don't we, Paul?
Yeah, it's very user-friendly, everything to hand.
Nice big double oven cooker.
Catered for 24 for Christmas dinner. If anybody tries to interfere, they get stabbed with one of the many knives.
There's no teamwork in this house.
This used to be 2 rooms, but as soon as we saw it, we thought this would make a perfect dining room. This is the study. This is where I spend most of my time because I work from home. Plenty of shelving and cupboards for all my bits and pieces.
This is the master bedroom. It's good size, as you can see. Double aspect, great views, a good few miles out of that window. And in here's the ensuite.
Shower big enough for 2. This is my daughter Kathryn's room when she comes back to stay.
Again, nice, bright, airy room. This is the garden, yeah.
Patio area where we barbecue. Plenty of room for friends and relatives to come round. I've got my own mini allotment up here where I grow my vegetables.
Our house is on a very quiet road in the village of Walton. We're surrounded by farmland, greenbelt countryside. The reason we want to swap is we want to change our lifestyle. The house has been on the market for over a year now, and current economic climate means we're having some difficulty in selling. So that's why we want to swap. This property is currently being marketed at $650,000.
Paul and Liz's 4-bed house in West Yorkshire has a conservatory, 1/3 of an acre with a very productive vegetable patch. So what would they like to swap to?
The most important thing about the other property is that it's in a good location. We're very flexible, I think, about what we're looking for, aren't we? That's our home, and we hope you liked it.
And if you'd like to swap, we'll have a chat. Bye.
OK, so that was Paul and Liz and their home. Right, let's feed off your initial instincts. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think?
We spent 8 happy years in Leeds, and it's a fantastic place to be. So the whole of Yorkshire's got a kind of a soft spot for us from that point of view. I'm not sure, looking at the house though, it's a lovely place, but I'm not sure that's where people would think, let's go on holiday to Walton.
Let us slide and glide onto the next property. Kent.
Oh, Kent.
Kent. Do you know Kent? Do you know Kent? Then if you know Kent, have a look at this.
Hi, my name's Habs. Welcome to the coach house near Lenham. Let me show you around. As you can see, we have a nice, great big 100-foot enclosed courtyard. So when the kids are playing out here, we can watch them and see, make sure they're safe and, and enjoying themselves. Well, this is a kitchen, great socialising areas. We have a lot of nice dinners here, and it's my little haven, actually, because I love cooking. We've got all the original features, got the beams here, still got all the old cast iron bits from the original coach house here as well. OK, so here we have the main living room, which is split into two by this original feature, the stable gate. You see, nice and solid. It's a beautiful feature. At the moment, it's a play area for her daughter. As you can see, she has her own kitchen and she has her own house, but unfortunately, neither of these come with the property. Coming through the main living area, where we have the Inglenook fireplace. This is one of the features that sold this property to me. You're going to love this room. Here we have the perfect period-featured bathroom. Avocado bathroom, avocado sink, avocado mirror. What more can an avocado lover want? Friends and family love this room. It's very spacious and airy with the high ceiling. It's just a lovely room, to enjoy yourself in or spend the weekend. When we have friends around, they just love being in this room. OK, this is the master bedroom. With the eaves, as you can see, it's quite an unusual ceiling here, so we had to have wardrobes designed and built for this room. And we have them on both sides of the room. And then we also have an ensuite. So here we have the main house, and now we'll take you over to the annex and see what you think. OK, so the annex here has got three rooms, i.e. the lounge, a kitchen and a bedroom. As you can see, the lounge area, which is quite a nice size, I've turned into a gym. OK, and here we have the kitchen, all the standard stuff in the kitchen. You've got your fridge, very cool. Cupboards, all nice and clean, sink. Anything perfect for what anyone would need for a weekend just to stay over. OK, here we have the bedroom. The bedroom includes an ensuite. Obviously, look after our guests when they come around, so they've got their own bathroom here. This is the entrance to the office. It's about 100 foot from the house. And this is really my garden shed. Right, well, this is my little bit of space here. This is my office. This is where I do all my work. But for those of you who work from home, this is a perfect office space. We're on the North Downs in Kent, which is a beautiful part of the Garden of England. The great thing about it, even though it seems like we're out in the sticks, we're literally 5 minutes away from our nearest town, which is Lenham, and it has all the local amenities there, and also has a train link direct to Victoria. The main reason we want to move is not particularly because we don't enjoy living here. We actually love this property, but because of my work, my wife needs to be closer to her family. A year ago, we had the property valued at 625, but with the current climate, we're looking at around 525.
Habib's 4-bed coach house also has a detached 1-bed annex and 2 separate office rooms. So what does he want for his swap?
The type of property we're looking to swap for is around about 5 bedrooms with a double garage and a decent-sized garden for our child to play in. Well, this is my house. I hope you like it. And if you fancy a swap, let's have a chat. Bye-bye.
There you go. So, could the coach house be a stable choice for you?
I quite liked it. I think it has a lot of potential. There are a number of features that I'd like to change. I'd like to update some of the bathrooms. I like the way that it's fairly close to where we live at the moment, so therefore it would be a property that we could manage ourselves as well as go for a holiday.
Yeah. What do you make of it, Ronnie?
Yeah, I thought it was actually quite surprising. You think, oh, that's it, and then there's another piece to it, and then another piece to it. So I like this sort of the way it's kind of unfolded for you. I thought it's a very interesting property.
I
I think we're feeling more positive about this.
I think that's got more potential.
OK, for our next property, we're going back up to Yorkshire, to Skipton. So take a look at this one here.
Go on, stop.
I'm Jill, this is Nicholas Wood.
Welcome to our converted mill house in Skipton, North Yorkshire. Of the 3 reception rooms in the house, this is the largest. It's about 22 feet by 29 feet. There's a Victorian wood-burning stove here, very useful for heating a large space in the winter. This terrace is south-facing and it can be a sun trap, despite the Yorkshire weather, which, however, is better than Lancashire weather.
This is the kitchen. It's a lovely family room. It's just really easy to use and really good kitchen for a family.
This is a multi-purpose special occasions room. We use it at Christmas, etc. We also have a sauna here. It's an authentic Finnish sauna with hot coals. We haven't done this yet, but an option would be to go to the back door, straight out and into the stream from the sauna.
Previous occupants left their sauna, but what we wanted to do was to bring our Italian kitchen when we left Italy 10 years ago. It's very useful to have a second kitchen. Now that our children are older, they can cook here independently.
The house is on 2 floors. This is the upper floor here, with a utility room opposite the kitchen. This is the master bedroom. It's a very good sized room. It has 2 balconies overlooking the river. And here is the ensuite bathroom to the main bedroom. The house was built in 1785 and it's built of sandstone. The walls are about 70 centimetres thick. The house is set in at the edge of a 40-acre woodland trust woodland. This is the raised garden area with panoramic views over the woodland, and I think it's both of our favourite place in the garden, this. This detached building is a small remaining part of the original cotton spinning mill. It comprises of a large open-plan living area downstairs and then stairs up to 2 bedrooms, and there is a small bathroom upstairs as well. As a holiday let, it will certainly make £6,000 to £8,000 a year.
You can stand anywhere in the middle of Skipton and see hills around the edge of Skipton.
And sheep, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. The value of this property is £700,000 to £725,000, and that's a 2009 valuation, not a 2007 valuation.
Nicholas and Jill's 6-bed converted mill house also has a 2-bed cottage and a riverside garden. So, what's their ideal swap?
Nicholas's children now all living in the south of England. I have family in the south. We haven't really got many family members up north anymore. It'd be quite nice to be living closer to the sea. That's something that we'd like to do.
Over. Right, OK. You were making very interesting noises when that was playing.
Yes.
Explain to me.
I sometimes say to Kathryn, although I like contemporary style, in my weaker moments I do sometimes say, well, I wouldn't mind living in a house that's several hundred years old, and just soak up the history that's there and think of the families that have lived there. And yeah, that was quite something that ticked a box there.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, OK. What do you think?
I particularly like the stream in the garden, near the garden and the woodland.
Yeah.
Beautiful location. Ideal for a holiday home.
What did you make of the concept of dine, steam and stream? How did that work for you, the dine, steam and stream combo?
We do like saunas.
Yeah, I'm great fans of saunas actually, but in a dining room, it's not quite quite work for me, I don't think.
Now, what about the separate annex for rental? For 6,000 to 8,000 rent you could get from that a year.
I thought that was quite encouraging, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you put the whole thing together as a package, and it looks quite promising. Yeah.
What about the taboo subject of the price?
Well, it's more than we wanted. Doesn't rule it out the question. Yeah, I think there are possibilities there.
OK. Well, we come to this awkward situation where you've seen 3 properties where the owners are interested in a swap, and I would therefore ask you to make a decision about which one you'd like to see in the flesh. Now, do you need time to think about it? Shall I disappear and give you some talking time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes? Then I will disappear with my tea and see you in a second.
Right.
So, which one are they going to choose, I wonder? Well, if I was a property detective, just call me Sherlock Holmes, I think, well, what would I think? I would think they're not going to go for the first one. That's my gut feeling. And therefore, the question is, are they going to swap this house in Kent for a house in Yorkshire, or are they going to swap this house in Kent for a house in Kent? And I think they're going to swap it for a house in Kent. While Ronnie and Kathryn weigh up the pros and cons...
You couldn't really want for a better tourist place, which is really what we were looking for.
Sunita, our property advisor, has some advice. Sunita's been a property negotiator for over 10 years, helping hundreds of clients move onwards and upwards.
If you want to move house quickly, then house swapping could be the answer. Now, there are several websites out there that could help you find your perfect match. You will, of course, still have to have a HIPS report, and you will be paying stamp duty. But, crucially, you get to avoid a chain, and if you're not on with an estate agent, you avoid estate agent fees.
Sunita's invaluable knowledge will help our swappers negotiate a deal. Which one have you decided?
Well, we haven't made up our minds yet.
You haven't made up your minds yet?
No.
It partly depends on finance.
Yeah.
What's your heart telling you?
Skipton.
Skipton?
Yeah.
And then what's your brain telling you?
Lenham.
Ah. So what are you going to follow, your heart or your brain?
On balance, we would like to see the Skipton house.
You're going to see the Skipton house. And do you know what you've done by choosing the Skipton house?
What?
Do you know what you've done? You've only got to make me wrong. I thought you would go for the one in Kent.
Right.
All right, there you go.
So there you go. Interesting. Right, well, I'm very excited. It's off to Skipton you go.
Right.
And I hope the swap is everything you want it to be.
OK.
Enjoy it very much.
Right.
So, despite it being over their budget, Ronnie and Kathryn have gone with their hearts and chosen Nicholas and Jill's old sawmill in Skipton, West Yorkshire. Still to come, Ronnie and Kathryn travel back in time.
It's just the history that it's steeped in. It's fantastic.
Whilst Nicholas and Jill are transported into the future.
Still don't understand quite what everything here does.
But when it comes to negotiating the finances, will things fall apart?
They would strike a very good deal. We would not.
It's time to swap homes for the day. Ronnie and Kathryn are off to Skipton to see if the gateway to the Dales is the right spot for a holiday cottage with rental potential. Whilst Nicholas and Jill head down south to the eco-home near Canterbury. They have the chance to exchange lifestyles for the day before they decide if a permanent swap is on the cards. On the edge of the Yorkshire Dales, Skipton is the perfect location for a country holiday. It could also be the ideal place for a new venture for Kathryn and Ronnie.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, look, the old sawmill. 1785. I didn't realise it was that old.
Incredible, isn't it? See, I look at this and I don't think, isn't it quaint, isn't it cute? I look at it and I think all the people that have sort of, strolled past here over the hundreds of years, the centuries. And that's what I love about old properties. It's just the history that it's steeped in. It's fantastic.
And while they take in the historic atmosphere, almost 300 miles down south, Nicholas and Jill are exploring a brave new world in Kent.
How do you do, Dad? It's Nick and Jill.
Builder Dan is here to give them the keys and the techno lowdown.
I love the solar panels.
They're two different types. Why is that?
This one here at the front is for the electric, which produces about 3 kilowatts.
I see.
And then one's over there for the hot water system.
For the hot water, I see.
Yeah. And when you're not using that amount of power, then they're put back into national grid.
Right.
and then they reimburse you to a certain amount.
So this house can even make you money.
There you go.
Fine, well, thank you very much, Dan. Most grateful.
I love the feel of it.
It is very, very nice. It's very much open plan living. Oh, right. Oh, that's very nice. Lord Farron, we hope that you will have a very enjoyable day in Canterbury. Thank you for sharing your beautiful home with us. And what have we got here?
Alan.
It's a wine from Kent. That's interesting. Well, we'll enjoy that.
Yes. We don't get any Yorkshire wine, do we?
I don't think so.
Anything's possible with global warming, Nicholas. Now, how are the eco-crusaders getting on up north?
Impressive.
It's a bit different to what we're building, isn't it?
Might be difficult to heat in the winter.
Yeah.
Ah, that terrace looks lovely. Should we go and have a look?
No sooner have they arrived and our nature lovers are straight back out again.
You can hear the birds, can't you? Oh, the river is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so peaceful here, isn't it? With the birds and the sound of the water.
Nature's handiwork seems to be pleasing Kathryn, but will her own creation get the approval down south?
Yes. It's a lovely design, actually.
Yeah, I like the colour.
This is granite here. These surfaces are granite, Jill.
Yeah,
which is very nice. Very, very high-tech. I think you could rustle up some good meals in here.
And there's more to see upstairs.
So we've got a main family bathroom here. These are very much reminiscent of a good Italian apartment, really.
Yes,
you know.
yes.
This is the main bedroom.
Yeah, this is
I
lovely.
say.
Well, if he likes that, wait till he sees the ensuite.
It's quite stunning. Don't know how to deal with this. Oh, here we go.
It's a shower, but you can actually sit.
There'll be jets of water shooting out.
Did I sit down? You sit down
You
here?
can sit there. I think you get jets of water there because it's fully enclosed.
Some sort of hydrotherapy
Yes,
experience.
It's fantastic. It's an experience.
Yeah.
You're right.
Let's hope it comes with an instruction booklet.
That's great.
Up north, Ronnie and Kathryn have something on their minds.
Yeah, that goes all the way down to the river.
It's not the layout of the house or paint choices.
Yes, we were just wondering who owns this section of the river and whether or not you could have some hydroelectricity from the stream there.
They've sorted out its green credentials, but what about that separate holiday cottage?
I really like the...
Gallery ceiling.
Yeah, it just, everything works. It's contemporary with that kind of rustic look, which is... And whoever designed it's done a brilliant job.
Yes.
They really have.
I love this.
Yeah, so I mean, this is set up. There's nothing more to do at all.
This would be ready to go today.
Yeah.
Just as they hoped, it's proving to be an ideal holiday let. Back in Kent...
A lot of high-tech gizmos here.
And it looks like Nicholas is trying to join the 21st century.
Foam insulation, so it's obviously a very warm house.
Wonderful.
It's very latest technology from a point of view of the timber frame.
Yeah.
Lower humidity, that'll appeal to you.
Definitely.
A central vacuum cleaner, what's that all about?
I mean, this does the vacuuming for me.
Sadly, Jill, it's not that clever.
Gosh. OK. Well, that was an interesting insight. Still don't understand quite what everything here does, but nevertheless.
Keen to find out more about life in the Yorkshire Dales, Kathryn and Ronnie take the time to speak to one of the neighbours. Yeah, come through.
How long have you lived here yourself?
We've lived here 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
And what's it like here in peak season when there's lots of tourists around?
The high street gets very busy, but because you're only sort of 5 minutes walk from
It's
the high
not an
street,
issue,
you
is
don't
it?
go down
Yeah.
in the car. You know, we've been up to the Lake District on holidays and this kind of thing, and we've come back and we think, well, why did we go away?
Yes.
You know, it's a lot. It's lovely. Just
Yes.
sat around and so peaceful. Fabulous spot. Absolutely superb.
Thank you. That's been very helpful.
Not a problem.
Nicholas and Jill are out and about too. Having checked out the house, it's time to see that added extra.
Of course, we'd have to think about what would you do with an acre of woodland?
We would have family picnics, put a bench in it.
A bench.
Yeah.
Yes, I suppose so.
Build a little summer house if we're allowed to.
Yeah.
This is very beautiful woodland, isn't it?
Yes.
It's,
very well established.
Yeah.
From tranquil forests in Kent to busy streets in Skipton. And because the old mill is well over budget, Ronnie and Kathryn want to find out the money-making potential of the property and the holiday cottage.
We were just wondering what the demand is sort of all year round. Obviously, high season, it's very busy.
I mean, we have a number of properties in Skipton, and they can sell up to 35 weeks a year.
So your advice for anyone will be that it's good to invest in Skipton?
Absolutely, and it's a great time to do it at the moment.
Just a half-hour walk from the Eco House, it's historic Canterbury. What will Nicholas and Jill make of the cathedral city?
Oh, look. Canterbury Pilgrims Hospital.
It's really nice just to be in a town with old things like this.
Are we on a pilgrimage, Jill?
Yes. Yes.
And their pilgrimage is taking them 7 miles north to see something else they're looking for from a move. The sea.
Yeah, it looks okay, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Is that an oyster shell?
Yes, it is.
So, as the one-day swap draws to a close, could a permanent swap be on the cards?
In the long term, this is a very good project and could be very good for us. And
Yes.
it's a lovely home.
From that point of view, it's 10 out of 10. It really is good.
What do you think of today?
I think it's a lovely area. It's beautiful. Everything's absolutely right. It's like jumping forward 50 years when we sort of have an eco house with a wild woodland.
Oh.
I think it could definitely adapt to it.
I think we've got to modernise one day, Jill, you and
That's
I.
right, that's right.
Having swapped homes and lifestyles for a day, there's a lot for everyone to consider. But will they decide to swap homes for good? Our couples have sampled what might well be their dream swaps, but now comes the tricky part. Can a deal be done? There's no telling how many miles you'll have to run chasing your dream, but to make the going a little easier, here's our negotiator, Sunita. Sunita Shroff has been helping people find their dream properties and agree the best price for them for over 10 years. She'll be using her expertise to negotiate a deal for our swappers.
Negotiating can be a tricky and even emotional process, and the properties won't necessarily be valued at the same price. So it's my job to get both sides to agree on a fair and realistic price to swap. But house swapping isn't all about the money. It's about avoiding that awful chain, potentially avoiding the estate agent's fees, and of course of months of your property being on the market. So if both sides are prepared to negotiate, they could walk away with a great deal.
So let's remind ourselves of what Sunita has to bargain with. Ronnie and Kathryn would like to swap one of the 5 eco houses they've developed, which comes with an acre of woodland valued at £625,000. They're looking for a country property that they can use and rent out. Nicholas and Jill have the 6-bed old mill, which comes with a 2-bed cottage used for holiday rentals. Total value £725,000. They want to move south and get a bit closer to the sea. So, first things first, what's the feedback?
Kristian showed you some properties, and you could have gone with what your head told you, which was to go with Kent, or you could have gone with what your heart was telling you. You went with your heart. So why was that?
I mean, you fell in love with the immediate location yourself, didn't you?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's right on the river and surrounded by majestic trees.
Yeah.
So it's idyllic.
Talk me through the property itself, the old sawmill.
It's a historic building, so that can be quite attractive for holiday letting.
If you wanted to go on holiday and you wanted to go to the Downs, where would you go? Well, Skipton.
OK, now you were looking to move from Yorkshire down to the south of England. Now tell me about the property itself, because it was an eco property, which is it's quite unusual.
It was wonderful inside. I liked every single feature. I liked every single little bit of thinking. The design was wonderful.
You know, to see a purpose-built eco house with the very, very latest technology was quite fascinating. I mean, it was an eye-opener for us.
So far, so good. But what about the cons?
It needs some updating.
Yes, you look at it and you think potential. There's just so much potential there. But again, there's actually quite a lot of money to be spent on it. You need really new bathrooms. You need at least one new kitchen. You're looking probably at about a £25,000 to £30,000 investment there to do all that.
We'd have to put in considerable finance before we had a return.
They're right that they need to spend quite a bit of money on a house. It could actually do fantastic things with it. It could be a really fantastic house.
And what about the negatives?
We would prefer a bigger garden.
Now, there is an acre of woodland.
Yes, what would one do with it? Would you spend time in it? Probably not.
I think you would. I think you would spend time in it, but...
would need to be looked into.
Time to talk money. Ronnie and Kathryn's eco-property is valued at £625,000, but they fell for the old sawmill at £725,000. What do they think is a fair price to swap?
We would be happy to swap at the same value.
You've got to look at all the work that's got to be done to it. That's from our point of view.
OK. I mean, that's certainly something I can put to them.
So, despite the old sawmill being valued at £100,000 more than the eco-house, they think it should be a straight swap. But what will Nicholas and Jill make of that?
The eco-property, it was valued initially at £675,000 and they dropped the asking price down to £625,000.
Yes, it's a good valuation at 625.
I think 6 to 625.
As far as your property went, they feel if there were to be a straight swap, they would be quite happy with that.
How interesting. My own gut feeling is that we did develop the cottage. We're getting £500 a week.
Yeah.
And we're getting pretty solidly booked up through the summer. So we were hoping that the loss of income that we get would be compensated by incoming equity with the house swap.
And how much equity would you like to release?
Well, I think we were talking in terms of our house having a value of 725 and the eco house of 625. So about 100k.
At least 100,000.
Yeah. No, 100k.
Nicholas and Jill have rejected the offer of a straight swap. They're looking for a £100,000 differential. So how will Ronnie and Kathryn react to this news?
They felt that they couldn't accept that.
I think the problem is that with the decline in property prices, it has impacted quite a lot on us because we have 5 properties.
I think also just as a financial proposition that does sound too much.
Do you think there is anywhere for us to go with this?
I think the pricing could be more realistic.
The thing is, they are already letting one part of it out for 500, so you could still, whilst one part's being let out, the other part you could do bits of work to.
But that's fine, but we would have a mortgage to pay.
So, before I go back up to them, I just need to clarify, because actually I don't think 0's fair and I don't think 100,000's fair. I think ideally somewhere in the middle, but if not, at least some form of a gesture.
What do you think?
I think £10,000 is a gesture.
Yes, yeah.
OK, so I went back to Ronnie and Kathryn with your first offer on the table of 100,000 differential, and it was a no.
But yes, OK, I understand.
They were suggesting a differential of 0, but they managed to find 10,000 as their second offer.
It obviously sounds... You see, we were quite surprised. I thought you would perhaps come up with something like 70,000 or something like that. So the fact you've only come back with something like 10,000, really, we find it quite difficult to know how to respond to that.
They would definitely strike the better deal if we did a deal at 10,000. They would strike a very good deal. We would not.
Time to catch up with Sunita.
At the moment, they are both being very stubborn and they just won't budge.
OK. But they could be calling each other's bluff.
They could.
So you have to push them a bit.
Yes.
Push, use both hands.
Push.
All right.
I think this differential they're coming up with, the 10,000, is one that we would lose out from.
I feel is quite low.
Yes.
Personally, my gut feeling would be a £50,000 differential. You need to think about that. You need to think whether that's worth it for you, the lifestyle change, the move from Skipton to Canterbury, and just assess everything.
Yes.
They still felt that that was just too low for them.
That's a disappointment. We've got quite excited about the project, and in our minds we've done it.
Mentally, we're half done it.
I've put an offer on the table and they're going to think about it, and this is what I want to ask you to do as well. Final offer I've put on the table is a £50,000 differential, and they're going to think about it to see whether they can drop that much, and and I want you to think about it as well.
So, after 4 hours of negotiation, Sunita has put a deal on the table. The eco house plus £50,000 for the old sawmill. The swap would allow Ronnie and Kathryn to set up a new holiday let, while Nicholas and Jill could make that move south and get closer to the sea. But will they go for it? So, I think, guys, I met you first. I think it's only fair. Turn the key in 3, 2, 1. I'm phobic of the colour red. Right, not here. So this could be very disappointing if we have a deal over here. Guys, in 3, 2, 1... It's amicable. I'll give it that. It's amicable. Why 2 not? Because I mean, unless I've got this completely wrong, you love each other's properties.
If we sell the house in a couple of 3 weeks' time, that would change our balance, and we could again come back. But that in our financial cycle, that's where we are at the moment. So.
Okay. And is it also financial for you guys?
To some extent it is, yes. I mean, it was a most interesting experience to see your house, but in the present circumstances we need to derive some income from where we live.
Would you still be open to negotiations if they came back and said, right, we're in a different position now?
Yes, we most certainly would, yes, sure.
Yeah, so we could turn these keys green yet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, I have to thank you both for allowing us to see your beautiful properties, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
It was with a heavy heart that we actually had to turn that key, and I'd like to think that we'll be able to convert that to a green key. But we shall see.
In the near future.
Yes.
Ronnie did come back and mention that if he concludes the sale of one of the other houses on the development, then he might come back to us with a new offer. So that was very interesting. We'll certainly be interested in that.
Well, that's such a shame their dreams couldn't be realised. But I say, when your dreams turn to dust, vacuum and try again. And try again we will. So I'll see you next time on House Swap.